Mm. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get together here on Facebook, 10:30 in the morning, Monday through Saturday, where we take a look at good headlines, headlines from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your comments, ideas, and suggestions on how to best connect with our city, Puerto Vallarta, as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Monday, January 16th, and as always, it is a pleasure to get together with you, and particularly a pleasure to welcome those of you that are joining us live for the first time. If this is your case, feel free to let us know by adding the word new to your comment. And if you do so, we'll be happy to give you a nice little welcome. Today, we have a lot of fun and interesting news, and a lot of news that have to do with cigarette smoking as it relates to where you can do it and where you cannot do it. The laws have changed again, and it is important for us to let you know what's going on. If you are a smoker, and if you are not a smoker, then you're probably going to be happy about some of the changes that we're going to announce today. Before we do that, as always, if you are new, as I mentioned before, let us know by writing the word new. If you have something really important on your mind that you wish to share, that you wish to have acknowledged in the broadcast, it helps a great deal to be able to see a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. This allows me to look for it in the second section of the broadcast, our chit chat section. But before we go there, let's go through the news and let's take it from there. Well, new laws governing tobacco smoking came. Oh, hold on just a second. There you go. New laws governing tobacco smoking came into effect yesterday throughout Mexico, and they have to do with where you can smoke or not, where you can buy tobacco products or not, and how they are advertised. For starters, it is now forbidden to smoke at places where food or beverages are served, including their own terraces, patios, and such. You can no longer smoke in urban parks or those where sporting activities take place. You cannot smoke at nighttime entertainment venues, stadiums, arenas, shopping malls, markets, hotels, hospitals, health centers, medical clinics, and churches. And if you are a business owner, yes, you can have your very own designated smoking area if you like, but the change in the law stipulates that you can no longer serve food or beverages in your designated smoking area. So if you're a restaurant, yes, you can have a little space where people can puff their tobacco, but if they order from that particular space or they expect to be served food or beverages at that particular space, this is no longer allowed by law. And of course, for those that do not follow the new laws, there are fines of up to 829,000 pesos. And in case you were wondering, the new smoking laws include no smoking at the beach. I read elsewhere that cigarette butts are among the most common sources of pollution and trash here in Puerto Vallarta. Somehow I am not surprised. The new law also stipulates that stores can no longer display cigarettes or any other tobacco products or promote them with special printed materials. The only thing stores are allowed to do is to display a list of products containing tobacco with their prices, but without any logos or brands. This is at stores. If you walk into a convenience store, you will not see your favorite brand on display anymore. You're going to have to look at a list of brands that are being offered. Needless to say, the restaurants are not having it. Restaurants are not happy with the new anti-tobacco laws. Jorge Luis, I forget his name, the guy that oversees Canirac, the local restaurant chamber association, stated that the organization will begin legal action against the new law that will hopefully allow restaurants to, to not follow it, I suppose. In Spanish, the word is amparo, which is equivalent to saying that restaurants are seeking legal protection against the new laws. In other news, as we mentioned last week, a stretch of Basilio Vadillo Street, specifically between Olas Altas and Pino Suarez Streets, is now closed to vehicular traffic starting this morning as CEAPAL is concluding the work they were doing prior to the December vacation period, in which they are hoping to conclude in 3 days. You may recall that just before the vacation period, the local government asked CEAPAL to stop their work while tourists were here for December vacations, and now they are simply attempting to conclude the work. CEAPAL has stated that this is the final stretch of improvements to be executed in this part of town at present time. And here's another group of people that is unhappy with new laws and procedures. Now we're talking about beach vendors who are not happy about the way they are expected to renew their permits in order to be able to continue selling their products on the beach. Let me explain. In the past, it was an association of beach vendors that could obtain a group permit that would be valid for all the members of the group. But with a change in the law, the Secretary of Environment and National Resources, or Semarnat, is now asking vendors to apply for their renewal in person as individuals rather than to have an organization to represent them. This, of course, provides the Secretary with a tighter control of just how many vendors there are. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for the vendors has indicated that this is not practical, claiming that many beach vendors don't even know how to fill out a form. So presently, they are sitting at the local Semarnat offices in an attempt to prevent workers to enter the facility as a way to pressuring the Secretary of Natural Resources to go back to the previous arrangement. And that's the news section today. Let us take a quick look at the weather forecast, and then we will continue with the rest of today's coffee and headlines. Oh dear, I have no idea what this is about, but according to Snarky Weather says, I'm forecasting high concentrations of cordyceps or cordyceps spores today with a chance of a clicker attack in the evening. This must have to do with a movie or a video game I am not acquainted with, so I don't know what this is about. I have no idea what a cordyceps is. Anyhow, it is 23 degrees right now. Humidity is at 40%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 74. Our weather forecast for today says mostly cloudy through the day with a high of 27 and a low of 15. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we can expect a partly cloudy day with a high of 26 and a low of 16. And Wednesday will also be a partly cloudy day with a high of 26 and a low of 15. Moving right along, I have a couple of other things to share with you, starting with what is next. Yes, this has to do with nonprofit organizations. And the question I have for you is your favorite nonprofit, local nonprofit organization properly registered with the Mexican government? Even though there seems to be a large number of so called nonprofit organizations here in Puerto Vallarta or groups of individuals doing so called charitable work, only 40 of them are properly registered with the state government, according to Anali Marcelo, who is the regional coordinator at the DIF office. This is the office that coordinates nonprofits in Puerto Vallarta. Nonprofit organizations must obtain permits from City Hall and from the Secretary of Health. In addition, they have to be properly registered with Mexico's tax office, or SAT, and it is this registration that allows them to handle tax deduction in donations. Unfortunately, the article that we're referencing here does not actually provide a list of the nonprofits that are well registered, but I am sure such a list can be easily obtained. And as a consumer, if you have issues as to whether your favorite nonprofit is in good standing with the Mexican government or the Mexican law, you can always ask them to show their proper license prior to making a donation. And as you know, here at Coffee and Headlines, we've always abided by making sure that if you get involved with a local nonprofit, you make sure that the money or the donation that you offer is actually going to reach its expected destination. Something else that I want to share with you, it won't happen for a while, but I already put the date on my calendar. According to the Secretary of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mexico now has a Mexican Wine Day, or a day to commemorate Mexican wine. This date has been declared to be October the 7th. The new decree will allow the Mexican wine industry to continue promoting itself and its success, which is an awesome thing, considering that in the past 3 years, different Mexican wines have, according to this announcement, obtained an average of 500 medals per year. We don't know where these medals came from or who awarded them, but one thing is for certain, there are some Mexican wines that are winning accolades out there. And if you enjoy drinking wine in general and you have not given yourself the opportunity to try some fine Mexican wines, then you are missing out on a great cultural opportunity. Last but not least, I have a curious story to share. I was walking to La Comer the other day, and I was walking down Francisco Villa, and across the street there's this restaurant, and the restaurant was playing a cumbia version of a song written by an American composer, a very popular song. And this has to be the last song I ever imagined somebody would adapt to a traditional Latin American rhythm such as cumbia. So I don't know if I should even tell you the song or just show you the YouTube link and encourage you to, I'm going to keep it as a surprise. I'm just going to invite you to be curious as to what kind of song I just heard and thought to myself, oh my God, I never imagined this would be turned into a cumbia. Now, am I saying that this is a good version of the song? Not necessarily. Am I saying that I am going to just be anxious to come home and play it over and over again? I probably am not, but I would probably throw this song into a party playlist if I was having a group of people over, or I would probably use this version of the song to clean my house or do something fun. What song am I talking about? I'm sorry, you're going to have to find out in the show notes. Before we start with our comments for today, please remember that this week is meet and greet week. We're going to get together on Friday from 6 to 8 at Whiskey Kitchen. I am so happy that Gina has told me that she's coming back into town today. And of course, everything seems to indicate that the wonderful Amy Armstrong will be delighting us with some live music during the meet and greet. And of course, we are going to go here and see Amy perform her show this coming Saturday. This is her Oweed, a love story with confessions and cannabis, which it doesn't mean that we're going to get high there because it's not allowed. But Amy will delight us with wonderful songs that have to do with consumption of marijuana and her own personal anecdotes on dealing with cancer recovery and cannabis. This is going to be this Saturday, January 21st at Nacho Daddy. The show starts at 7. And I know that some of us have purchased tickets. If you'd like to join us, then you should be able to have access to a nice little announcement that we're going to include in the show notes. And with that, we jump swiftly into our comment section just to see what everybody is up to. Let's see. We have hellos, and good mornings, which I love. Pirim pam pum pim pum. Dave says cool morning in El Centro. Oh yes, it's definitely chilly. Dan is still in COVID jail, but feeling pretty much back to normal. This is wonderful. Kathy says for me not to test again until tomorrow. She's still negative and also feeling better. This is wonderful news. I am so glad that you guys are on the mend. Let's see. I see a great dinner at Hacienda San Angel Saturday night, still serving really fine food. This is wonderful to know. Thank you very much for the report. What else do we have? More hellos, more good mornings, which we love to read. Yes, comments about cigarette smoking. Some of your comments are in favor. Some of your comments are not in favor. I'm not going to weigh in on the issue. As a non-smoker, I always know where I can go and spend time and feel comforted with the absence of cigarette smoke. So it is, a personal thing. Jonathan asks, what is the location for Friday's meet and greet? Isn't there 3 Whiskey Kitchen locations? No, there is only one Whiskey Kitchen location, and it's the one on Versalles on Francisco Villa. If you look at the show notes, you will find the actual address. Let's see what else we have. On the report, it said no public streets or beaches or anywhere, so basically inside or in designated smoking area of restaurants. That is correct. Let's see what else. Angelica, it was such a pleasure to spend a few hours with you in beautiful Punta Perula. My second visit to this location ever. I should have some photos to share of Punta Perula by tomorrow, in case you're curious about this lovely destination south of Puerto Vallarta, some 3 hours south of Puerto Vallarta. Let's see. Oh, thank you very much, Brian. Snarky weather has to do with the new show, The Last of Us. There was some filming in Calgary while we were back last year. The set was very apocalyptic. I understand that this is a new HBO show, and it's based on a video game, and it has something to do with a virus causing havoc. I don't know all the details, but I did watch the trailer some days ago, and I thought this would be a show that I would enjoy. Mateo, it's so nice to know that you are here. In Puerto Vallarta, is your weekend getaway venue going to remain a mystery, or do you plan on telling us where the mensch took you? I have no mysteries for coffee and headlines. As a matter of fact, my friend Eric, who owns the co-working hotel across the street from Encanto, invited me to spend another weekend at his beautiful home in El Tuito. So I spent 2 nights over there. And because Eric has wonderful Starlink internet, it was very easy for me to broadcast from his beautiful garden. We went and took our day trip south. We went to Punta Perula, and we spotted a bunny rabbit just sort of hanging out in his backyard. We thought it was the spirit of Julie Guerrero, who was supposed to join us on this weekend adventure. But of course, Julie is now north of the border, trying to get lined up for a surgery that is needed. Fingers crossed to Julie. And we are back home, where Luna was a little grumpy at me. She was like, where the frack did you go this weekend? But here we are. Let's see what else. Yay, Mexican Wine Day. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely great. Question to the cluster. A friend wants to get to the cultural space on Isla Cuale. Is the handicap ramp still in place, and what street is it at? That is a very good question. I can tell you, Diane, that you can actually get to the cultural space by way of the handicap ramp that is located on Ignacio L. Vallarta. It's the zigzag ramp. And there's a new handicap accessible ramp also on Insurgentes Street. So you take the ramp, you head down, and then once you are at the island level, you can continue east to where the cultural center is located. So there are those two ramps that you can choose from. One will allow you to explore the entire length of the island, and one will allow you to get down there a little closer to the cultural center. Boom, boom, boom. El Tuito should have brought back raicilla. I may have to take a trip out there. Can't find any here. Well, the good news, Albert, is that I saw wonderful raicilla, even flavored raicilla, being sold at the Mercadito, which they have now on Sundays. And getting back and forth to El Tuito is very easy. On the way down, I went with my friend Eric, but since he had no business in town yesterday or today, I took the bus back. The bus back from El Tuito was a really mellow ride, and it cost me 40 pesos. It dropped me off near Aguacate Street in Colonia Emiliano Zapata. I will say the buses are not very comfortable, but, they are what they are. You sit on your chair and you enjoy a bumpy ride, and by the time you get home, your butt is saying, please give me a little bit of a break. But it's an hour ride, so it's very easy to get there. We have talked about spending the day in El Tuito on Sunday, and it's a great thing to do. In fact, I had the opportunity to interview the wonderful Maddie James, I believe is his last name, that has Provecho, the pizza store, right around the corner from the main plaza. I will edit this interview and share it sometime in the near future. And of course, this brings us to the end of today's broadcast. I hope you had a good time spending half an hour with us here at Coffee and Headlines. Let's see. Our survey should be online this afternoon. I will send it via the newsletter. I will send it via Buy Me a Coffee. I will put it on the Facebook page, and we will be mentioning it during the next few days. And for those of you that are not in the know, this is our survey of topics for Coffee and Headlines. What kind of things you want us to continue discussing? What kind of new topics you want to see here at Coffee and Headlines. So I'm hoping that with your very valuable input, we will continue to provide all the information that you enjoy the most. So have a great Monday. Have a great beginning of the week, and I will see you again tomorrow. Take care.